Woo woo. Hey guys, we're about to do a tutorial. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going over brushes. I'm super excited to do this video because I have had so many people, especially my good friends, ask me to sit down with them and explain hold on, I think I have a hair. Each and every brush that I use, especially the ones that I use on the daily basis or the ones that I just use in general. So yeah, I thought I would go through each and every brush with you guys and explain what I use them for. It will be a video that you guys can refer back to. And if you guys are struggling at home with brushes or not knowing which brush to use for what, you can always refer back to this video and see. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. I have a feeling it's gonna be a long one. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. I do have coffee that I just drink with a straw. That's all that is. I would suggest that you go get something to drink or eat yourself. I have a lot of brushes to go through today. So if you guys wanna see the brushes that I use and the ones that I think that you need in your kit, then just keep watching. So we are gonna start with face brushes. This is what, so you guys can see this, but this is how I store my brushes. I have this like vintage dish that I use, and then I have my eye brushes and then my face brushes. And then this is just like from the dollar store, and this is just like literally like a glass. I'm gonna kind of go in order of the way that you use the brushes, just because I wanna try to stay on track and I want it to like make sense. So we're gonna start with foundation. The brush that I use to apply my foundation is the MORPHE G6 brush. And the reason I really like this brush is because it's technically a kabuki brush. It has a flat top on it, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna allow you to have like an airbrush finish. So what you wanna do with a brush like this is you are going to go in circular motions like this, and then you are gonna push into the skin after you're done going in circular motions. I love this brush. It's really like dense, and I've been using this brush for a really long time. It's very inexpensive compared to like a MAC brush. Again, this is by Morphe. I do use this for a second way as well, and that is to put on my concealer. So I will put the concealer in the areas that I need, so in the T-zone, underneath the eyes, a little bit on my chin, and then all the places that I want to bring out. And then I will use this brush to pack it in, and that's the way I do it. So go like this and pack it in. A lot of people use like beauty blenders to do that and to especially do their concealer, but I am still just drawn to my brushes. So this is a great brush if you wanna use it for foundation or you wanna use it for concealer. By the way, I'm gonna list all the brushes that I talk about today in the description box. And if you don't know, the description box is the box that's right underneath this video right now. It has a little bit of an introduction to myself and what my channel is about, as well as information for that video specifically. So I definitely will have all the brushes that I use today. If I can't find the brushes that I have, then I will have a dupe for you guys in the description box. So make sure you check that out to refer back to any of the brushes. Another brush that I want to mention that I do like for foundation is the Morphe M439. This is a nice, fat, chunky brush. I really like this brush. It's really fun to like hold in your hand because it's like so chunky. But this brush actually gets the job done a little bit faster just because it is bigger. Obviously this one is rounded versus this one is a flat top kabuki. So some people like that. They prefer it to be more rounded, just like their face. But I actually like this one a little bit more. Even though this one gets the job done quicker, this one gives more of an airbrush finish because it is the kabuki and because the brushes are so compact. I think it's more worth spending a little bit extra time using this brush to get that airbrush finish. So this one again is the Morphe M439, but this one is a really good one as well in case you didn't care for this one. And then to set my concealer, I use the MAC 109 brush, and it looks like this. I just started using this for setting my concealer not too long ago, actually. I used to use like a tapered one, but I really like this one because it really like gets into the eye socket. So you can just be like this with your concealer, powder, and it sets the eyes really nicely. And again, you want to set your concealer so that your eyes don't crease. Underneath and on top. So that is why you want to always set your concealer. So that's why I like this brush a lot. I think this is technically a contour brush, which I think is why I bought this brush in the first place, which is kind of funny. But as a makeup artist and stuff, you sometimes get unique and creative, and you're just like, I would like this for a different area. So I think this is technically a contour brush, but Again, I use this to set my concealer, and this is the MAC 109. And the next brush that I wanted to mention is the MORPHE G6. It's an angle powder brush. Again, I think this one is for contouring. I think on their website it's for contouring or blush. But again, I use this one for powder. So whatever I'm setting my entire face with, this is the brush that I go to. I really like that it's an angle. I really like the length of the bristles, and I like how chunky it is this way, like the dimension of it. And again, I go into circular motions when I do put on my powder as well. So I really like this brush for that. Again, I used to use like a big fat powder brush for my powder, but I ended up using this one. It's a little bit more compact, and I really like the way that it disperses the powder onto my face. So again, this is the MORPHE G6, and I really like it. And then the next brush that I think is super important is the MAC 129. This is a staple for me. It's one of the first brushes that I ever purchased by MAC. MAC brushes are expensive, so when you're first starting out your kit, or you know, if you're not even a makeup artist and you're just, you know, starting off with makeup, it's kind of, it used to be a lot more intimidating back in the day when there weren't very many brands that sold brushes. So like now there's like Morphe, and it's like so much more affordable, but I started off with one of these MAC ones. MAC brushes are super good though, so they are sometimes worth the pennies. But so again, this is the MAC 129 brush, and what I use this brush for is I like to use this to blend anything that is on my face. So that can be my, as soon as I put on my contour, if I want to blend that out a little bit more. This can be after I put on my blush and I want to blend that out a little bit more. Or this could be for my highlight, when after I put on my highlight and I don't want it to look like just stripes on my face, which my husband has totally mentioned before. He's like, what's that thing on your face? And I'm like, that's a highlight, dude, get it together. But this is a really great brush to use for that. So again, I use this in circular motions when I want to buff something out, and it's a very harsh buff, so it really does the job really well. So I really recommend this brush. And then the next brush I want to mention is the brush that I use to contour with, and that is the MAC 168, I want to say. I'm not positive. I will put this in the description box, and I'll put the use of it as well right next to it, so then you guys know exactly which one this is. But this is a white, again, I think this is technically a contour brush by MAC, and I do actually use this for contouring. This is the brush that I use. I think I used to use this for blush, but now I just use it for contour. So it's just perfect to get into that angle right here or buff it around the hairline, but it's a really good brush, and it puts the contour in heavy enough but still allows you to buff it out. So I do like this brush a lot. For the blush brush, I don't know if they still do this, but during Christmas time, MAC will do holiday collections, and so I did purchase this inside. It came inside a holiday collection one year, but I really like it. The brushes are a little bit longer than this contour one, as you can see right there, but this is like my favorite blush brush, and I love that it's like so small and a little bit chunky. And if you're wondering why like some of my brushes have stickers on them, it's from when I was in makeup school. I wanted to make sure that my brushes were distinctive to other people's, so that like if they were misplaced or something, then people would know, oh, that's Jen's brushes. So like this one says happy on it. But this was when I was building my kit. So again, this was a really good purchase for me, and I believe they have something like that. So I will put a dupe for this. I'll put a MAC dupe in case you want to spend a little bit more money, and I will put a Morphe dupe for you guys as well. Then I wanted to show you guys the brush that I used to use to set my eyes, or any of the concealer on my face. This is technically a highlighter brush, and it's by Sigma. It's the F35, and it looks like this. And I used to love this one for going underneath the eyes and going on the on top of the eyelids and going in the middle of the face and stuff. But I just, I just ended up using this brush, and I really like this one instead. So sometimes I will use this on clients, especially if they have like smaller eyes or something. But I wanted to give you two different options in case you didn't like my first choice, which is this one, the MAC 109. So you can go for something tapered like this if you prefer that. Again, technically this is a highlighter brush, so it's just made for highlighter, but I don't ever want my highlighter that thick on my face personally, so that's why I never use this as a highlighter. just remember that makeup is supposed to be fun and innovative. You never have to abide by the rules. Makeup is just literally all up to you. You can do your makeup and I can do my makeup and we can look the exact same, but we may have done it in two different ways, totally two different techniques. So always remember that when you are shopping for brushes. If you see something and you cling to it and you're like, I want to use this for this, then use it for that and see how it works for you and then work your way that way. And then I really like this brush. I'm so happy I found this brush. I think this has been with me for a little over a year now. This is the Morphe 521. It has bears teeth marks in it. Obviously he got to this brush. Because when I clean my brushes, I will clean them in the bathroom and then I'll lay them outside in the sun. And my dumbass put them in the backyard one day and the bear got to them. So I ended up finding this in the dirt and I was like, what the heck? But anyways, it survived. So this is the M521 Morphe brush, and this is the brush that I use to put on my highlighter and disperse the highlighter all over my face in the areas that I like. It's a really nice brush. It's a little bit tapered on one side. So one side's more flat and one's more tapered. I use the tapered side to dip into the highlighter, and I will again put that in circular motions on my face as well. So I really like this brush. It's the M521 if you're looking for a good highlighter brush. And I need some coffee because I just got through all of my face brushes and I'm exhausted already. Get it together. Moving on to eye brushes. Woo, don't even know where to start. Okay, so many. Okay, so let's start with a concealer brush or not a concealer, something I would put the eye primer on with. So again, I'm a very, very visual person, and if you know me, then you already know that about me. So I like to have my brushes in this because I like to see everything and I like to be able to grab it. And I also do the same concept with my lip liners. I will have them all upside down with the top of the color of the liner showing, so that when I'm going for a specific color, I can just go to it. That's just what works for me. This is the same way I do it when I do freelance work. I have my brushes like this and people are always calling me out the dollar area in Target, and I'm like, yes. But this is just what works for me. I love these little canisters for that. But okay, back to brushes. This is a Morphe E14. It looks like this. This is a really sexy brush to feel. Yes, I just called the brush sexy. It feels so good in your hand because it's tapered right here and it's so slim. But I love this brush for putting on the primer on the eyelid. It's perfect for that. And yeah, that's what I use this for. I use this on myself and clients all the time. It's a really good brush for that if you're looking for something for your MAC paint pot or your any primer for that matter, even if it's a foundation. And this is also a really good brush for if you had a problematic area, aka a zit, and you wanted to cover it up. This would be great to dip into your concealer or whatever you're concealing with, and push it onto the problematic area. So I really like this brush. Again, this is the E14. So let me get out 3 different ones actually, and I will show you what they are for and why I use them. So to just disperse the eyeshadow onto the eye, I have 3 different brushes that I like to use, and all 3 different brushes do 3 different things. So this brush is just something that I seriously think I picked up from Walgreens or Save On or something like that. It's just a generic brush and has no name on it, no brand, and this guy is so good. This guy needs a name. But this is perfect for just going into your eyeshadow and putting it all over the lid. This actually works as really good for packing a color if you're trying to do a V look. So yeah, I really like this brush, but I can't give you a name. I would check out Walgreens, maybe Save On, something like that. But it used to come in a 3 or 4 pack, so I used to love getting these brushes. And then this is the MAC 242 brush. This brush is for, let me think of the word, eyeshadows that are foiled, or an eyeshadow like All That Glitters by MAC, or Woodwinked, something like that. You're gonna wanna use a brush like this. This is gonna be to really get into that eyelid and really pack into just the eyelid. This is gonna be really good for that. And even like glittery eyeshadows, this is a really good brush for that. This is also a good brush if you're trying to do concealer, a cut crease look, then this would be the brush that I would go to use that. And then lastly, we have this brush. It is just like a packing brush and it's tapered on both sides. Again, this is a generic brush. I got this in my brush kit when I went to makeup school. We got like a huge case of brushes when we signed up, and I was so excited. Again, I don't know exactly where you can find this brush specifically, but I will link something very similar to it. And again, I use this for packing on the eyeshadow and to my eyelids. So this is the MAC 217, and technically you can pack on color with this brush as well. It's just not gonna be as precise as something like the MAC 242. So if you're just doing like more of like a smoked out look, or if you're doing a look like a runway look where you want your shadow to go from the bottom to the top, like right here, almost to your eyeshadows, like a lot of runway models do, then you can totally use a brush like the MAC 217 because it's just gonna be like a blown out look and it's gonna buff out your eyeshadow as well. Versus the MAC 242 is the brush that you're gonna wanna use if you only want something in a specific area, like your eyelid, then this would be best for that. But I did want to mention the MAC 217 because I think I use this brush almost every single day. Again, this is one of the first brushes that I ever owned by MAC. It's great for, you know, like I said, packing on the color as well as buffing out the color and blending. Definitely a staple in my collection. So then let's talk about Morphe, who has a very similar brush. The Morphe M433 is a go-to for me now. Once I discovered this brush, this is my #1 blending brush in my kit. I love this brush for just blending out the transition, putting on the transition area, blending out the transition area. I use this for smoky eyes. I really like this brush. So again, this is the M433 and it's a very affordable brush. I have like 4 or 5 in my collection, just so that if one is dirty, I can just go grab the other one in case I'm in between of washing my brushes at the time. So I really like it for that. Another blending brush by MAC that I use is the MAC 224. Again, this is one of the very first brushes that I ever owned. It's a very, it's a dome brush and it's perfect for blending. It has a very, very harsh blend. So if I'm doing a smoky eye and I wanna get the job done faster, if I'm doing a wedding that day, then I'm gonna go to this brush. This is really good for that. And you're gonna wanna work in circular motions with this brush or windshield wiper motions. You're gonna wanna go back and forth with this brush. But again, this is great for harsh blending. And then something that's very similar to it, but not exactly the same, is the Sigma tapered blending brush. It's the E40. It looks very, very similar to it. The brushes are a lot more soft and the bristles are a little bit longer. And this is what I would say I use for softer blending. If I'm using like a lighter color and I know it's gonna blend out, sometimes when you're like blending, you put on a color and then you start blending and it almost looks like the eyeshadow is getting taken away. So this is a great blush if you're just using like a lighter shadow and you don't wanna do that. This is a really great brush for that. And again, it's softer, so. But if you were doing a smoky eye with this, it's gonna take you a lot longer than if you were to use like the MAC 224. The blending is a lot different. Like I said, this is a lot more harsh than this one. So again, I recommend using both in your kit. Let's talk about smudger brushes. Okay, again, this is a generic brush. I did get this in my makeup collection when I first started makeup school. It's technically a smudger brush. So it's rounded right here and it's technically for if you're putting on like, if you're putting on like a black shadow, if you're using like an eyeliner and you wanna smudge out your eyeliner, you can put on your eyeliner and then smudge it out and it gives like a really pretty like smoky look. It kind of reminds me of like the Baywatch babes back in the day. They always had like, I feel like smudged out eyeliner. Okay, Pamela Anderson, that's who comes to mind when I think about the smudger look. So a lot of people don't really do that look anymore, but technically it's like a classic in the makeup world. So yeah, you can use this for that. And then what I use it for almost on a daily basis is just to put on my drop shadow. So the shadow that goes underneath my eye. That's what I use this brush for. Underneath my eyes are very sensitive, so this brush is like super soft and it does that for me. But then I will put the eyeshadow underneath my eye, but then I will go in with that Sigma E40 and blend that out like this while I'm looking up, so that the shadow underneath my eye looks a little bit more blown, versus the look that I went for today, which is more of like a signature, just like a strip of a color, which I use the smudger brush for. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's talk about eyeliner brushes. So if you're using like a paint pot by MAC specifically, or Maybelline, then I would recommend the MAC 263. It's an angle brush and it looks like this. It's super good for putting on your classic wing eyeliner. If that's the way you do your eyeliner, that's the way I like to do my eyeliner. And so yeah, that is what I use the MAC 263 for. It's very thin, so it allows you to start off with a really nice sharp line. You know, sometimes we do our eyeliner and we start off really thin and then it ends up being a lot thicker than we thought. And but at least I like to at least start with like a thinner line and then work my way like out if I'm trying to do like a thicker line that day. So I recommend that one. And then very similar, but not the same thing, is the MAC 266. And this is the brush that I used in my eyebrow tutorial. I will link that in the description box. This is what I use on my brows every single day. It's a really good angle brush, and it's perfect for doing the eyebrows, carving out the eyebrows, and making that perfect shape that you're looking for. So again, this is the MAC 266. Going back to a really good blending brush, the E25. I used to use this one all the time before I got the Morphe M433 brush. This is a really good brush. It's by Sigma, the E25. If you're just starting out with makeup and you want to play around with makeup and you want to practice blending, this is a really good brush to have in your kit. It's soft, it just does the job quick, and it's a really good brush to use. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. And to carve out the eyebrows, I use the Sigma Flat Definer brush, the E15, and it looks like this. It's flat on top, nice and square, and I use this to carve out the brows. I will dip this into like a concealer, and then I will go right underneath the brow and line it out. I have that in my eyebrow tutorial, so again, I will link that in the description so you guys can check that out. But I really like this for that, and that's pretty much all I ever use this brush for. Okay, everybody needs an eyebrow brush in their kit. Everybody. I got this brush, I think, from Sephora, but it's all like gross now. I've had it for so long. I need to switch this one out, but again, this is for your eyebrows, and then this side is technically for your eyelashes. If they were like all like clumpy that day, you could like comb them out, but I never use this side because like my mascara that I use is so good, the one that I always mention. But yeah, I really like this this brush specifically, and I'm pretty sure I got this one from Sephora. And another important brush to me is a pencil brush. A pencil brush can be used for numerous of things. This one I use specifically to put in my inner corner highlight. I will not leave the house. If I have my full face of makeup on, I won't leave the house with inner corner highlight on. I think it's just a game changer. It opens up the eyes, it brightens the eyes. It's super beautiful in my opinion. So I really like that for this. But technically a pencil brush could be used for putting on the eyeliner underneath. You could use it in your crease if you want to do a more precise look, if you're looking for a specific look right here with the eyeshadow and you want to do like a really sharp V, or start off with a really sharp V, that would be perfect for this. You could use this if you don't want to use a concealer to carve out your brows and you wanted to use just like a lighter eyeshadow color. You could dip this into that and then just carve out your brows using this. Again, this is a generic brush, but almost every brand has this in their collection. So I will put in the description a dupe for this one. So the next brush that I want to mention is this precision brush. It looks just like this. It's like very, very tiny and miniature and so cute. I love using this for precision areas. So anywhere that you just have like a little dot or like something very small, or you're working with a very strategic look, or if you're doing like an avant-garde look, something specific, then you would use this. I used to use this in my inner corner to do my inner corner highlight, and then I switched to the pencil brush just because it's a little bit bigger, and I ended up realizing that I love like a really big inner corner highlight. But I did used to use the precision brush. So again, I do think that everyone needs to have something like this in their kit just because it's small, and yeah, it just gets into the areas that nothing else is going to be able to because it's so small. And then every makeup artist needs a fan brush. These are perfect for the highlighter areas. If you're just looking for a very dainty, light highlight, then this is like perfect for that. And it just makes you feel like so professional when you're using like a fan brush. So I love these brushes. This one is the Morphe M601. Do I use this every day? No. Do I like to look at it every day? Absolutely. So yeah, but I did want to mention it because it's so cute. So I think that's about it. I think those are the main brushes that I think that are staples in everyone's makeup collection. These are the most important brushes to me. These are the ones that are my babies. One time I was flying to another state and my dumbass put them in the suitcase, and I will never forget that day because my suitcase got lost and I thought that I lost my brushes, and I had like a wedding like 3 days later or something like that, and I literally like freaked the F out because if I were to lose my makeup brushes, I would basically lose my life. Like my makeup brushes are so important to me. Like that's like my livelihood. That's like, you know, like you get accustomed to your own brushes, and you know, they work for you, and you learn to customize them for you and your face. So even if you're just starting out with like an e.l.f. brush, like that's totally fine. Just like start out with it, see if it works for you, and then maybe work your way up and get something a little bit more expensive. That's what I would totally recommend. But yeah, brushes are super important. They're way more important to me than my makeup because in my opinion, I can just go repurchase my makeup, but I can't just go repurchase my brushes. My brushes are so expensive, and it's taken me a really long time to get all these brushes in my collection. Again, just so you guys kind of understand how many brushes I have, these are all the brushes that I mentioned today. These are more eye brushes that I use in my kit. Oh my God, I forgot to mention the lip brush. The lip brush is very important. I love using the lip brush for like a very precise lip look. Definitely everybody needs one of those in their kit, especially if they like a classic red lip, then this is a really good one. Again, these are more brushes that I have, and then I even have a whole nother one of these upstairs in my bathroom of more brushes that I use, or face brushes and stuff like that for my kit. I think that if you have the right brushes, they can really do the work for you. I think they're really worth the investment if you are into makeup and that's your thing. So yeah, I wanted to mention my brushes and talk about them extensively. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you found this video to be helpful. If you guys like this type of video, then give it a thumbs up. I hope you guys found this video helpful and that you learned something. Also, please leave me a comment below letting me know if there's a brush that I need in my life, because I would really be interested in that, and I love like purchasing new things and seeing if it works for me. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you guys who watched me. Again, don't forget I'm doing a giveaway once I hit 100 subscribers, so stay tuned for that, and I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Bye.